everybody, welcome to another episode of Foreclosure Help 777, where we talk about everything foreclosure related. Today we're going to talk about Carrington's case and give you an update on what's going on. In the docket, you can look at all his latest cases, and his case number is 11234-2009, Kings County Supreme Court, and the website address is up above, as you can see. NYSEF is https://iapps.courts.state.new.york or ny.us. And you can search as a guest, plug in that account number or case number, and his case will come up. And the motion we're going to talk about today, motion in Limine or however you say it. Basically, it's a motion that he filed. It's document number 90. Notice of motion in Limine. And you can see that there's all these exhibits that go with it. And the exhibits are the SEMA note 1, 2, 3, the 3 forged SEMA notes that we've talked about in previous videos. And then you can see the close-up inspection is number 84, the gap note, the note dated 2005, allonged by Janet Pagan, allonges by Jason Berkeley, allonges by Shauna White, assignment, corrected assignment, unrecorded assignment, unrecorded assignment, unrecorded assignment, affirmation of Richard Schweiner, note possession history. So these are all the exhibits that go with that motion, the motion that we're going to talk about in Limine. And let's take a look at this motion. The table of contents. We have an introduction, the promissory notes that must be excluded. Basically, a motion in Limine talks about what evidence you want suppressed or excluded from trial. And so we need to explain to the court why these items cannot be at trial, because they are no good, they're defective, and prejudicial to the foreclosure defendant. So let's take a look at what's in the table of contents. Promissory notes, and you can see there's lots of them. There's 3 different SEMA notes, A1, A2, and A3. A close-up inspection of the 3 signatures of the promissory notes is A4. The gap adjustable rate note, Exhibit B. The note dated October 28th of 05, Exhibit C. Allonges that must be excluded. You can see these allonges. Assignment to mortgage that must be excluded. You can see all these assignments. Testimony that must be excluded. And business records that must be excluded. And then we have a conclusion. And with this motion, you have to have your case law. So we have a table of authorities, which we argue the case law. And then let's take a look at the basically, he talks about, on the first page, comes now William Carrington, defendant pro se, and does hereby state before the Supreme Court of the State of New York, the following under penalty of perjury, and respectfully moves this court for an order excluding certain evidence from being introduced at trial, and hereby files this motion in Limine. The purpose of a motion in Limine is to permit a party to obtain a preliminary order or ruling before or during trial, excluding the introduction of anticipated inadmissible, immaterial, or prejudicial evidence, or limiting the use of such evidence. And then the case law for that is State of New York versus Metz. The following documents and testimony in this motion in Limine include the following: defective promissory notes, defective allonges, defective assignments, hearsay testimony from a non-party, defective business records. And this motion, has an introduction which goes over the reasons for it. And you can, I don't want to spend too much time on each thing because I want to keep these videos fairly short. But basically, it's stating, kind of restating what he just said, that, he's submitting this to preserve his due process rights that the defendant has when this foreclosure action goes to trial. This foreclosure action has been ongoing for 16 years, and during this time, many different documents have been presented or filed in the court docket. Many of these documents and exhibits are fraudulent and or fatally defective. Defendant files this motion in Limine in order to suppress and exclude specific defective documents which are prejudice to the defendant. If evidence should be excluded on a motion in Limine only when the evidence is clearly inadmissible on all potential grounds. Thus, this motion in Limine is to prevent the admission of potentially improper evidence until the court has had an opportunity to rule on its admissibility. And then it has case law. All right, so we're going to talk, and it says defendant presents this motion in Limine with exhibits for each item and a brief description of why each item is defective and should therefore be excluded. And you can see the promissory notes, and we go over this. I have the forged signatures, A1, A2, and A3. And then A4 is a close-up inspection of all of them. And then we got some arguments in case law here, close-up inspection. And then here's some more notes that have to be excluded because the gap note should be excluded because it's irrelevant to this case since the SEMA note supersedes the gap note. And this other note dated October 20th of 05 should be excluded because again the SEMA note, which is consolidated note, supersedes the original note. And they're trying to use both of them against them. And these are the allonges that must be excluded for similar reasons. And you can read these details if you want to read these a little bit closer. One of them has the wrong amount. One of them is missing information. We can look at some of these, but basically they are. And then you have the assignments of mortgage, which are defective assignments of mortgage. They have the wrong amounts, the wrong dates. Some of them we have a corrective assignment of mortgage, which has the wrong amount on it. Unrecorded assignment of mortgage, unrecorded assignment of mortgage, unrecorded assignment of mortgage. Aquin Loan Servicing sent him 3 different assignments of mortgage that were all unrecorded. They were signed and notarized, but they didn't have the assignee or the assignor, so go figure. And they didn't record them, so they're defective. Testimony from Richard Schweiner has to excluded because he's a non-party to the case, and he has hearsay testimony. Is basically we are arguing, as you can see here. And then business records to exclude, note possession history. Again, they don't. There's nothing in here that makes sense to why they need this. It's missing information. Alright, so anyway, basically the conclusion says, defendant has presented clear and convincing motion in Limine which gives an accurate and synopsis of the reasons why the forged SEMA promissory notes, fabricated allonges, and defective assignments, hearsay testimony, and hearsay business records should be excluded from the trial. The defendant respectfully requests that this court issue an order precluding the plaintiff from introducing into evidence any version of the promissory note other than the original wet ink version. Respectfully submitted. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these exhibits. Okay, here is the exhibit A4, which is a close-up inspection of the 3rd page of all 3 SEMA notes. As you can see, A1, A2, and A3. So this way you can get a side-by-side look-see of the 3 forged signatures, and you can tell that they are all different. They don't look the same to me, and therefore they are forged. There can only be one note, one promissory note, guys, and the other side has presented 3 fake notes. Most of these other exhibits that are on the docket we can't really go over, guys, because they have certain information on it that YouTube doesn't want me to share with you guys. Most of it you guys can see from the docket if you go there and look anyways. If you want to see a copy of this motion and you can't get to it for whatever reason, you can send me an email, and Carrington has agreed to share this with people. So If you want to see more information, just send me an email, guys. And if you have any questions about your own foreclosure, just send me an email too, and I'll see what I can do to help you out, give you some helpful advice. I'm not an attorney and I can't give legal advice, guys, but I've been through a foreclosure myself, and I know how it is to go through it, and I might give you some options if you need help going that direction. So you can leave comments, and thank you for subscribing, and we'll do more videos, guys. Everyone have a blessed day.